So I turned his life into trash, literally. Imagine being literally broken, bones shattered, ribs fractured, face bruised, and your boyfriend posts a photo of himself at a party with his ex, captioned, "Finally free from the needy drama queen and her constant demands." Yeah. That happened. So here's the backstory. I've been dating Richard for 4 years. 4 years. If our relationship were a hiking trip, it would be the kind where the tour guide abandons you halfway up a mountain, and you realize you've been carrying everyone else's backpacks, emotional, financial, and literal, while he lounged behind, taking selfies with the view. We met at a community garden restoration project, yes, the compost team. Richard called himself the Compost King, and gave a dramatic speech about how breaking down is just the first step to building something beautiful. My dumb, plant-loving heart thought this was profound. Fast forward 4 years, and the only thing being composted was my self-respect. Let's break it down. Rent help. 7 times in 4 years. Credit issues. His name isn't on the lease, my name is. Jobs. He's unemployed or finding himself 60% of the time. Money. Spent on gaming setups, clothes, nights out. My car, my bills, my patience, all mine. But your girl was in love. I made excuses. He was finding himself, he had potential, blah, blah, classic man-child gaslighting. Then last week, I got hit by a car. Someone ran a red light, T-boned me, and I ended up with a broken leg, 3 fractured ribs, and a concussion. The doctor said I was lucky. I felt awful. Richard? He visited me once. 20 minutes. Hospitals give me anxiety, he said. I need to process this trauma in my own way. Yeah, trauma. Mine. With metal pins in my leg and bruises all over. But hey, he's the hero of his own story. My best friend Anastasia stayed with me. Slept in that torture device of a hospital chair for 3 nights, helped me to the bathroom, fed me real food, washed my hair in a tiny sink. People like her exist so the rest of us don't die of neglect. So there I am, drugged on pain meds, barely able to move, when Anastasia scrolls her phone and goes, "Weird." I snatch it, rude, yes, but pain meds make me aggressively curious, and there it is, Richard at a party, arm around his ex Katie. Caption, "Finally free from the needy drama queen and her constant demands." I froze. For years of supporting this man emotionally, financially, and spiritually, and this is how he repays me while I'm in a hospital bed learning to walk again on crutches. Comments from friends flooded in. Glad you're happy, bro. You deserve better. Where the hell was the, isn't your girlfriend in the hospital, squad? I didn't comment. I didn't text. I didn't call. I processed. And while processing, I remembered something crucial. My name is the only one on the lease. Cue the planning montage. I called my landlord, explained the situation. I called my brother, my cousin. Made a plan. Fast forward to yesterday, Richard had been back to the apartment a few times while I was with Anastasia during recovery. He had no idea what was coming. Phase 1, my brother and 2 of his coworkers showed up. Operation Dumpster the Compost King commenced. Every crusty sock, every Funko Pop, every console, special edition controller, craft beers, signed baseball cards, everything. Dumpster. Behind the apartment complex. Compost King, meet decomposition. Why? Because he hadn't paid rent in 3 months, lied about interviews, and celebrated my hospital stay on Instagram. Justice never smelled so sweet. Richard's text started pouring in. Where is my stuff? You can't do this to me. My collections are worth thousands. Then the tone shifted. Baby, please, I'm sorry, I was drunk and stupid. Katie doesn't mean anything to me. I love you, we can work this out. I didn't respond. Smiling. Watching the chaos unfold was, oddly satisfying. And then came his mother. Classic. Always treating me like I was lucky to be with her, precious boy. Crying. Begging me to reconsider. He made a mistake. He doesn't deserve this. You're being vindictive. Maybe I am. Vindictive. But after 4 years of supporting someone who couldn't be bothered to visit me more than once while publicly mocking me? Yeah, vindictive felt like sweet, sweet justice. Lease renewal. Not renewing. Packed a bag, moved in with Anastasia, finally surrounded by furniture not coated in Richard's gaming smell and bad excuses. Phase 1 complete. And honestly, I don't regret it. Not one bit. Stress eating is my love language. Meanwhile, Richard's mother, Deborah, treated the phone like a Broadway stage, alternating between sobbing, guilt-tripping, and thinly veiled threats for a solid 28 minutes. Here's the highlight reel. Richard has been crying for 2 days straight. Funny. I cried for 2 days straight when I woke up in the hospital and he wasn't there. But go off, Mom. Do you know how much those collectibles were worth? His grandfather gave him some of those baseball cards. Do you know how much rent costs, Deborah? Because I do, down to the penny, for 4 years. He was planning to propose. Sure, unless the ring was made of unpaid bills and broken promises, I highly doubt it. We could press charges for destruction of property. My lawyer cousin already confirmed, nope. Not a thing. Then she dropped the mother of all gaslight bombs. Richard told me everything about how you've been controlling his finances and isolating him from friends and family. I laughed. Literally almost popped a stitch from laughing. Me, controlling his finances. The man who once spent our grocery money on a limited edition gaming keyboard. The man who borrowed $3,000 from me for a business opportunity that turned out to be cryptocurrency. The man who hasn't voluntarily shown me his bank account in 3 years. And isolating him from friends and family. I planned his birthday parties, bought gifts for his mom, drove him to family functions when his car got repossessed. I was the unpaid life coach and chauffeur for a grown man child. But I didn't immediately hang up on Deborah. Oh no, I asked her a simple, devastatingly effective question. Deborah, when was the last time Richard paid rent? Silence. Well, you two had an arrangement where you handled household bills and he covered other expenses. I pressed. Other expenses? Exactly what were those? More silence. Then, I'm not privy to your financial arrangements. I calmly, sweetly, venomously broke it down. $177,000 in credit card debt from covering his half of the bills. Years of overtime, weekends, sacrifices, selling my grandmother's jewelry because he had money coming. The cracks in her worldview were audible through the phone. But he's been supporting you. Finally, she said. You lost your job and he's been carrying you financially. I had my same job for 6 years with 2 promotions. Richard? 7 jobs in 4 years, the longest lasting 3 months. I didn't even yell. I just promised to email her evidence, bank statements, rent receipts, screenshots of texts, and of course, his social media posts celebrating my hospitalization. Call ended. She hasn't called back. Funny how that works. Now, for the great dumpster disposal. Because many of you asked for details. I couldn't move all of Richard's treasures with a broken leg. Enter my hero, my brother Dylan, who brought 2 of his guys on their day off. Paid, of course, some of us understand the concept of paying for services rendered. Phase 1, Richard's prized possessions. Gaming setup, 3 monitors, custom PC, $2,800. Collectible figurines, still in boxes, because they're investments. Signed sports memorabilia, which he refused to hang because it didn't match the decor. Craft beer collection, some bottles from our first year together, aging, rotting, forgotten. 4 hours. 4 hours of archaeological digging, random socks under the couch, half-eaten chip bags, receipts for purchases I didn't even know about. A true expedition into the wild life of a man-child. Dylan ceremoniously carried Richard's gaming throne, yes, the chair was called the throne, to the dumpster like he was disposing of a cursed artifact. Nothing was broken deliberately. Clothes weren't shredded. Electronics weren't smashed. They were simply relocated to their natural habitat, garbage. I kept 1 box of potentially important items, birth certificate, social security card, a few family photos, medical records. All with the landlord, 100% on my side after seeing Richard's Instagram and hearing my side of the story. Locks changed, of course. Speaking of the landlord, Richard showed up twice demanding entry. Second time, he threatened to call the police. Funny thing. Cockroach behavior. They scattered when the lights turned on. And then there's the other thing I did. Remember his new job? The one I networked him into? Financial services, handling client accounts, financial planning. Yeah. I simply shared factual information with my friend's brother, who's in a position to make hiring decisions. Social media posts, unprofessional, public humiliation. Rental history, non-existent. Choice texts where he bragged about working the system to avoid bills. Petty. Maybe. But would you want someone handling your retirement account who can't remember to pay their electric bill? I didn't lie. I didn't exaggerate. I provided facts. They rescinded the offer. Justice. Fast forward to today, Richard has graduated from angry texts to sad, long emails, claiming he's reflected on his mistakes, the Katie posts were just for show, he's changed, ready to commit, ready to contribute, ready to be a real partner. All this, personal growth, came at the bargain price of a nearly fatal car accident for me. 4 years of financial exploitation. Public humiliation. Losing all his possessions. Losing a job he couldn't even keep straight. Being exposed to his mother. And yet, somehow, I feel lighter than I have in years. His college roommate Remy reached out. Apparently, Richard's been camping on couches, crying, and plotting some grand gesture to win me back. I politely thanked Remy and asked him to warn me if Richard escalated. Remy apologized too, claiming he had no idea Richard was capable of this level of chaos. Turns out, Richard owes him money too. Shocking. Physically exhausted from the accident, emotionally drained from the drama, but for the first time in 4 years, shoulders literally feel lighter. Tomorrow, leg follow-up, then Anastasia and I, well, let's just say, it's going to be liberating. So, there I am, scrolling through apartment listings like a slightly broken, very tired adult, dreaming about a fresh start without the ghost of Richard's gaming chair looming over me. Lease ends in 30 days and honestly, I can almost taste the freedom. Meanwhile, my phone is a symphony of chaos. Texts, missed calls, desperate voicemails, Richard's mother, Deborah, alternating between sobbing guilt trips and veiled threats like she's auditioning for The Godfather, Mom Edition. Stress eating is my love language, by the way, so I'm comfortably curled up with chips and the kind of tea that makes me feel morally superior. Medical update. Since some of you asked, legs healing nicely. Doctor says the cast might come off in 4 weeks instead of 6. Ribs. Still ache when I laugh too hard. Which, given recent developments, has been frequent and loud. And now, the grand gesture. Oh, Reddit, brace yourselves. I told you it would be predictable, self-centered, and underwhelming. Yesterday afternoon, I'm at Anastasia's, scrolling through listings and imagining a life without Richard's socks scattered across the floor. Suddenly, the doorman calls, "Delivery for you." Anastasia trudges down the stairs, because broken leg plus stairs equals mortal enemy, and returns 5 minutes later, eyes wide, holding a compost bin. Yes. A literal plastic container filled with dirt, worms, and kitchen scraps. I cannot even. The audacity. The delusion. The tone deafness. The absolute grotesque comedy of it all. Anastasia and I laughed so hard my ribs threatened to file for assault. She even took a picture of me looking completely bewildered next to this bucket of decay and posted it to Instagram. When your BFF's ex thinks worms are the way to a woman's heart. Inside the compost. Yes, there was more. Buried beneath the organic chaos, I found a small velvet box, the ring. Covered in dirt, worm juice, and heartbreak. Costume jewelry. Plastic diamond. Gold turning my skin green. And to top it off, the date engraved inside, 04221. For context, that's his ex Katie's birthday. This recycled, disgusting ring had been floating somewhere between Katie's jewelry box and Richard's fantasies, and now he thought composting it would win me back. I sent him one sentence. The compost bin is exactly where our relationship belongs. Breaking down among the worms and garbage. His texts. A tsunami, the ring is temporary, the date is the day he realized he loved me, yada yada. I did not respond. Anastasia, my hero, immediately took the compost bin to the dumpster behind her building and filmed it being dumped, because sometimes a girl has to document victory in HD. Meanwhile, Deborah. Ah yes, Richard's mother. After digesting all the receipts and financial statements I sent her, she finally responded. Her email was basically a 5-stage of grief masterclass. Denial, there must be some mistake with these records. Richard told me he was contributing financially. Anger, how dare you make my son look like this? You've clearly manipulated these statements. Bargaining, if there were financial issues, why didn't you come to me? I could have helped you both work it out. Depression, I'm heartbroken to think my son would behave this way. I raised him better than this. Acceptance, I owe you an apology. I had no idea and I'm deeply sorry for enabling his behavior. Deborah actually apologized. I had to sit down. Like, genuinely. Someone finally realized Richard's true self isn't charming or clever, it's parasitic. She called later, just once, not 43 times, and confirmed the wildest part. Richard had been telling his family I was unstable, claiming the apartment was his, the car was his, and he was generously letting me stay. He'd been fabricating a financial crisis to scam them for over $155,000. Layers of lies stacked like the compost bin itself. Her parting words. I love my son, but he needs to face consequences for once. I won't bail him out this time. Progress. Actual progress. The other thing I did. Remember the $177,000 I spent covering his expenses? Turns out 3 of those credit cards were joint accounts opened in my name to build his credit, but he never paid. Surprise, surprise. I've been working with my bank and a financial advisor to separate the accounts. After combing through transactions, I've documented approximately $11,000 of debt that's purely Richard's. Not only did I send this to his potential employer, but also to his parents, his brother, and mutual friends with a note. If Richard asks to borrow money or move in with you, this is what you can expect. Petty? Maybe. True. Absolutely. And in case anyone wonders, truth is a disinfectant for the kind of toxic mess Richard thrives on. Even Katie, the ex, reached out. Apparently, Richard had been messaging her while we were living together, claiming we were on a break. She was horrified and provided context. I declined screenshots because self-torture isn't part of my rehabilitation plan, but thanked her for honesty. Richard's latest antics. Yes, he tried again yesterday. Showed up at Anastasia's building. Doorman denied entry. Richard was screaming in the lobby about how he needs his gift basket. Ah yes, because compost bins, screaming in public, and stolen hope make a perfect romantic trilogy. I wish I were kidding. At this point, my recovery, my sanity, my apartment hunting, and my chips are my priority. Richard's theatrics. Just a reminder that sometimes the universe writes dark comedy scripts and hands you worms and garbage bins as props. After the compost bin fiasco, Richard escalated from sad texts to full-blown emotional nuclear warfare. 43 calls from Deborah had dwindled into 37 calls from him in just 2 hours, each one a masterpiece of drama. Please just talk to me, I can explain everything. This is all a misunderstanding. I was going to pay you back. You're ruining my life. I have nowhere to go. My mom won't even let me stay with her. I'm sleeping in my car. Hold up. The car. Repossession happened months ago, buddy. That last voicemail had a subtle hint of threatening desperation that I just could not ignore. I called a wellness check on him. Police confirmed, fine, just emotionally unhinged, recommended therapy. Later, Remy, Richard's college roommate and now accidental hero, texted. FYI, Richard is no longer staying here. Found out he stole $200 from my wallet and changed the locks. Wow. Just, wow. Even in full-on crisis, this man cannot stop taking what isn't his. The fallout. Where does this leave us? Richard, couch surfing, isolated, rejected, bankrupt in trust and reputation. His family. No longer enabling. Friends. Dropping like flies. Job prospects. Non-existent. Belongings. Dumpster bound. Me. Healing. My leg is mending. My heart is mending. I found a promising apartment across town, cheaper, safer, mine. Anastasia. Still a rock. My family rallied. My workplace. Understanding. The storm finally broke, and I surfaced for air after 4 years underwater. The final act. Richard's antics didn't end quietly. He tried public shaming with a GoFundMe called Homeless After Girlfriend's Revenge, spinning a fictional narrative about stolen money and thrown away heirlooms. Claimed he needed $5,000 to get back on his feet. It lasted 6 hours. Gone. Why? Because Anastasia, Dylan, and a dozen mutual friends reported it for fraud. Bonus, people posted links to my Reddit saga. Watching his public grift implode. Priceless. He then stormed my old apartment building. I wasn't there, thankfully, and the doorman, the police, and multiple neighbors quickly confirmed, Richard does not live there. He had zero mail, zero ID proving residency, and an outstanding warrant for $1,200 in unpaid traffic tickets. Police took him in. 2 nights in jail, bailed out by his brother, not mom, which, honestly, is poetic justice. After this, Richard finally seemed to get the memo, silence is mandatory. No calls, no voicemails, no essays about love and redemption. Just, gone. His brother now makes him pay rent and keeps him in line. Personal victory. My leg is mobile, walking boot and PT still ongoing, my new apartment is peaceful, and my car, affectionately named Freedom, is mine. My mental and emotional state. Therapy has been a revelation. I faced the hard truth. I stayed with Richard not just out of love, but because bailing him out gave me identity. I enabled toxic behavior because I feared being alone. I valued scraps of affection over my own sanity. Facing these truths has been brutal, rib-hurting sobs included. But acknowledging them? Liberating. Deborah, the plot twist. In a last act of redemption, Richard's mother invited me to lunch. Thoughtfulness and ramp access included. We talked honestly. She admitted her role in enabling Richard, reflected on her own patterns, and apologized sincerely. At the end of lunch, she handed me $2,000 cash. "This doesn't begin to cover what he owes you," she said, "but it's what I can do right now. This is from me, because I failed as a mother if I raised someone who would treat you this way." I accepted. That money used to furnish my new apartment, a clean slate, zero Richard. Final thoughts. Reddit, you were my lifeline. Support, advice, and yes, even the cruel humor kept me sane. I am healed physically, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. The Compost King is history. My takeaway: you deserve better than excuses, manipulations, and worm-infested rings. Sometimes, the best revenge is living well, moving forward, and laughing at the absurdity of the past. And me? I'm blooming. At last.